Maybe we should put $1 in the jar. Prime the pump.
What are we, a piano bar?
Small businesses are the heartbeat of the Australian economy, with over 2.1 million nationwide. I spoke to Lara Debus, who is soon to open her first small business, a cafe in Brunswick, Victoria.
I am probably of the generation that you don't really stay in a job longer than maybe like 3 to 5 years, along with my dad to possibly use the downstairs space of his townhouse in Brunswick as a cafe. Probably about 3 years ago, we decided to talk about it. Made plans, quit my job. I then took a hospitality job, so I was a waitress for a friend for a fair few months. We knew that it would be a year of me sort of working in hospitality again. I really didn't want to just be one of these people who decides that opening up a cafe sounds really interesting and fun and what a cool, trendy, hipster thing to do. I did want to have some basis and knew that this was something that we wanted to before we put in all our money. Long story short, we were meant to have our builders in about June 2017, open up November 2017. It's now May 2018, and we're still in a bit of a work site downstairs. Nothing's finished, so I think about it all the time. I mean, the staff that I've hired and hired for opening in November, and they've been so good at keeping in touch, making sure that they've got employment still, but they're still willing to come on board. And I'm just really looking forward to sort of building a business with them too, that they're almost just as much a part of it as building it as I am.
So, does politics play much of a role when having a small business?
It's certainly not something that gets people excited when they're like, oh man, I'm going to open up a small business and there's going to be all this great funding. It's not something that I thought about. And I did look into, we're in a fortunate position that we probably didn't need it. I do know that there are several requirements for getting funding.
What do they offer?
There are information days, there's extra training if you'd like in sort of things around the tax and point of sale, and just even training with staff that you can do. There are long waiting lists, so I've sort of tried my best to get in to a few of those workshops, I guess, but haven't been successful.
With a cafe in Northcote in trouble for underpaying staff, how difficult is the wage side of a business?
You definitely ask people what their expectations are in terms of what their pay is. That's probably one of the first questions I ask somebody when I'm interviewing them, and have done. And I think that in hospitality, it's one of those really hard things. I mean, the government doesn't make it easy for people to run a small business and pay people super and make sure that you're paying the right amount of tax for them, and not just paying them cash in their hand. You know, you want them to sort of have this, this job that they're really, really proud of and really great, but then, you know, to have a bit of something left over at the end for themselves. And it's very hard to have the staff that you need, keeping your prices competitive with, especially in a place like Brunswick, there's lots of different places, and then to just continue to pay the bills, really. It's certainly not an easy task to do. So I do know in hospitality there's a lot of people sort of just going for the quick cash jobs. But luckily, I think with all these things being brought up, that more people are being paid what they're worth, and being looked after in terms of their super. Yeah.